Hey guys, welcome back to SuperiorFandom.com. Again, I'm Nate. This is my partner Joe.
What up?
Producer Jarrett.
Hi.
And in studio we got a special guest tonight. We got Mike Gonger with us. Say hey, Mike.
How's it going, America?
America.
America, USA.
America.
We got reach.
Oh, yeah.
America. We're going to be talking a lot about football tonight. Obviously, what we've been doing for the last, for a long time now. Joe, what you got?
I want to talk about the NBA, goddammit,
Well,
but
no, you do.
I guess you're not going to let me do that.
Not right now. Not till it matters.
Nate, the Saints lost this week. You've handled yourself well. How you holding up, buddy?
Well, it's I got good and drunk. That's how I held up on Saturday. It was brutal, and not to mention I had Ozzy over my shoulder, just kind of poking me the entire time. The game. Well, I mean, the only good thing I can say about the Saints for this game is that our defense was outstanding. We took everything we did in the first game, which was a fucking debacle, and turned it on its haunches. And our secondary was outstanding. We got to Russell Wilson. We maintained him, although we couldn't contain Marshawn Lynch like we did last time. But regardless, our defense stepped up. On the offensive side of the ball, it was just a complete and utter mess. I mean, first of all, Drew Brees doesn't wear gloves. Ever. Doesn't wear gloves.
Doesn't.
And for some reason, he decided that he wanted to wear gloves in Seattle. They said he practiced with them all fucking week. I don't give a shit. He missed every wide open receiver that he was over. Throwing balls, underthrowing balls, throwing balls behind guys. Like he couldn't get it right in the first three quarters of the game. Late push. Marcus Colston decides that he wants to throw the ball an extra 20 yards ahead of him after when he should have stepped out of bounds. The game over. I mean, what can I say? Seattle was the better team. It was rough, and it's hard to say that. And I lost a bet. Fuck you, Brandon Ozzy Osborne. I got to wear Seattle gear next week, which is going to bring tears to my eyes. But yeah, there's not much I can say about it except for that. They were the better team. We got handled.
That bet goes the rest of the playoffs, does it not?
Well, if Seattle stays in the playoffs, yes, it does. If Seattle stays in the playoffs, I have to wear Seattle gear for the next two games.
Fuck yeah, that's rooting interest. I'll take it.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So, ultimately it was just too much beast mode, too much 12th man. I think they really played a factor there early in the fourth quarter, made you guys burn some timeouts that I think Peyton would have liked to keep in his pocket. And I think that tricky Pete Carroll-led defense did just enough to keep the guys off balance. And, Well,
if we could get a place kicker that could actually make a field goal, which we haven't had all year long. And then, he missed two field goals. Yeah, they were into the wind, but it's no excuse. They were dead center of the field, both of them under 50 yards. And then in the red zone, when Sean Payton decided that he wanted to go for it on 4th and 4, when on 3rd and 4 he decides he wants to run it into the wall, instead of taking 3 points, we would have been on the board only down 10 points. He decides to pass it on 4th and 4, and it was a disaster. As it was being drawn up, I said this is going to be a disaster, and it was. Sean Payton, I'm convinced at this point. I love him. He got us a Super Bowl. I have nothing bad to say about Sean Payton at all. But when he's on the road, I think he should relinquish the play calling, because in the Seattle game it was just a disaster.
Just a quick question, and we'll roll on to the San Francisco Carolina game. But how much do you think the fact that Sean Payton wasn't around last season had a role in what happened to the Saints this year and maybe not achieving your ultimate goals or playing up to the capability of what, New Orleans fans have expected over the years?
We won 7 games last year without a coach. And then, Sean Payton's back, and we won 11 this year. Well, 12 if you want to count again. We won 12 games this year. So I think, his impact was definitely felt. But in a game like this, I think he was he was thinking too hard about it, as opposed to, and like the 2 times this year that his play calling on the road, where instead of us getting a first down and winning the game at New England and at Carolina, both those games we would have won if we'd gotten a first down and with a minute left to go in the game. Instead, he wanted to punch it up the middle, make them waste timeouts, and then put it in Tom Brady and Cam Newton's hands to beat us, and both of them fucking did. I mean, so like his play calling on the road is a little cocky, in my opinion, and it's and he's got to get out of his own head sometimes. But other than that, no, I think his presence was definitely felt. We were a disaster without him, although most teams without their head coach would probably maybe win and squeak out like a couple of wins, maybe one against the Raiders and maybe one against Cleveland. But probably lose the rest of the season. We managed to squeak out 7 without a coach.
So the Niners beat the Panthers this on Sunday.
Speaking of which, we brought Mike in. Mike he's from the Bay Area, and he is a big 49ers fan.
Hey, go Niners, guys.
Yeah,
who brought us in the back?
You see how quickly we dismissed that anti-Raider BS? That's squashed quickly.
It's not really BS though. That's the thing.
But Mike, what do you think of this? What do you think of this Niner game, man?
Honestly, I was impressed this last week. I thought we had a really fair showing in Carolina. I'm really excited about where the defense is going right now.
Your defense is outstanding.
Yeah, I think we had a stellar game. And it was really something that what I felt was remarkable about it was our defense looked stifling. And I haven't felt that way since last year, really. And we lost a couple big names and everything. But just within guys like Reed and Wright and, Tremaine Brock stepping up, though, I really have a good sense going into next week into Seattle, though, with the secondary that we have. And with that being said, I know exactly what we're getting into and who we're going to be going up against. And knowing the secondary that Seattle has with Cam Chancellor and Sherman, we know what we're getting into, and directly forward with
Sherman blanketed Jimmy Graham. He did. Jimmy Graham didn't. He touched the ball one time without a catch.
And I think when I saw Graham play, a couple years back in San Francisco, I haven't seen a force like that. Just really pick us apart. To have Sherman really, like what you say, blanket him though. I find that impressive, and
it's incredible.
We've got a solid front 7, but realistically, from any Niners standpoint, going into Seattle, to be directly honest with you, you have to be scared going in there. Knowing that we're still playing good. We're on a run right now. We're playing some of the best ball that we've played in the last 2.5, 3 years. There's something to be said about that, but it's still Seattle. There's still the 12th man. There's still, I think, the hype that kind of surrounds it too, as far as the earthquake. Marshawn Lynch is absolutely just a terror in the backfield. And, I know we have a lot of different counters to really kind of make it a little bit more even. Frank Gore is still a great back. But when you look at the numbers, though, and what he does compared to like a Marshawn Lynch, I really see Marshawn Lynch as being a game changer.
He is.
Well, I feel Frank Gore is a solid, dependable back who's going to get you what you need throughout the game. But if there's someone who's going to blow the doors open, though, I really see Marshawn Lynch doing that.
The problem with Marshawn and with Russell Wilson, and they did it to us, 7 weeks ago. Whenever we went into Seattle, our whole game plan was to shut down Marshawn Lynch, and we did. We held him to 64 yards or something with no touchdowns. But our secondary was a disaster, and Russell Wilson ran more than Marshawn did. Right? Russell Wilson ran all over us and passed for 300 plus yards. I mean, it was. So it's a two-headed monster. You have to. Anytime you have, and you guys have the mobile quarterback as well. Kaepernick's, they're in my opinion the same style of quarterback. We were talking about it earlier.
Absolutely.
They really are. But it's just that two-headed monster in Marshawn Lynch.
To touch on what you said, and I agree with both of your points, I think the key for San Francisco moving on is going to be, in addition to playing, their defense playing to their capability. And I mean, that's not to be taken lightly. They've got one of the best, if not front sevens, one of the best linebacking units that I've seen, in football in the last 5-10 years.
I wholeheartedly
You know what I mean? Navarro Bowman is arguably the defensive player of the year, and he might not even be the best linebacker on that team on any given day. And that's just incredible to me. So, that aside, I think Frank Gore's ability to continue his 3 yards in the cloud of dust and keep them in manageable down and distance and let Harbaugh and Greg Roman call those plays to cultivate those 5, 6, 7 minute drives that keep Russell Wilson and Marshawn Lynch off the field and do it in a way where like Sherman and all those crazy blitzes that Pete Carroll likes to throw at you off the field. I think you're in.
He loves to suck Pete Carroll's dick. It's amazing.
Apparently,
it's amazing.
There is nothing wrong with a little love in the
incredible.
Pac-12, man.
Just keep your fingers out of his butt, Joe.
Yeah. I'm done with you.
I know.
So,
I think you touched on something right there, and you said with Navarro Bowman being the best linebacker on any given day, I was really amazed, more so than anything, with the performance of Maude Brooks on this last Sunday.
Completely.
Throughout the season, you've seen him step up. Granted, like big third downs where he's gonna come in and he can really be a force. But see him make huge plays where he's going up directly against their line. It gave me a certain silent confidence going into Seattle that this game is far more manageable than what we've seen in Seattle the last 2 times that we've gone up there. And I don't want to take anything away from Seattle, but I felt that being a Niner fan, the teams that we've sent out there the last couple times have been a little bit more depleted, and we could have sent a better receiving crew out there. And I think this is going to be a great game, especially if if Harvard is going to be playing this week. Though it should be a really interesting matchup. But I'm really excited to see what their secondary can do against our passing offense, because I felt like Kaepernick's
It'll be fun to watch.
I think Kaepernick's relied a lot on his legs. And not to discredit him, though, but I felt like that's been kind of like a real basis, though, of the Niners' offense. So it's been a straight running game.
Completely agree.
and to that end, and I think this will also further, kind of further the way to neutralize the Seattle defense. I think Greg Roman has gotten in a wonderful rhythm with Cap. Not only calling like the running plays where he can get out and use his legs, but also when he does throw it, they're quick passes.
Exactly.
He's doing great finding Vernon Davis. Like he's doing great finding Crab over the middle. Like I really like the way that offense is moving, and everybody knows about that San Francisco defense. But I really think that the way that they're going to win the game is to keep Marshawn Lynch and Russell Wilson and the rest of them off the field, and that's going to be the X factor. So, with all that being said, Nate, who's going to win the game, man?
Sorry, brother. I gotta pick Seattle. As much as it pains me, I have to pick Seattle. I don't know that home field advantage is about as good of a home field advantage as you get in the NFL, and it's they utilize it well. These are obviously 2 teams that know each other. I feel like they know each other's playbooks backwards and forwards. I think it comes down to a coaching job. Whoever and obviously it's. I think Harbaugh's emotions just get away from him way too often. You see it, he goes batshit crazy.
The guy's got 2,000 faces on any given Sunday. I can't deal with it.
But I have to go with Seattle. As much as I want you guys to win, because I really only want to wear Seattle gear one fucking time. But it's.
I think that's fair. Who really wants to wear it twice?
Oh God, who wants to wear it once? Really?
Neat, I know. Didn't want to bring it down.
Yeah, God. But yeah, I don't know who you got, Joe.
My money's on the Trojans from the north.
God. Jarrett, who you taking?
I like San Francisco.
Okay.
I'm a fan.
Obviously, I'm going to have to side with San Francisco as well. I really want to say that the Niners are going to just hand it to him and that it's going to be a grudge match, but I really think this game is going to fall down to something ridiculous. It's just one special teams play. It's just, who is tighter and who can manage the game. I really feel it's going to come down to like some freakish type of play, and if it doesn't, it's just going to be a field goal one.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be a matter of 4 or 5 point game. This is going to be a 1 to 3 point game, and that's how it's going to be won in the trenches, last minutes of it, fourth quarter.
And the conditions are going to be a huge factor as well.
Huge
factor. So if it's the same conditions as as the Saints game, one team had 30 miles an hour in their face at any given time during the game, and Seattle utilized that a lot better than we did.
I think they can capitalize on it far more than the Niners can. Even though they've gone into Green Bay, they've gone to Carolina. Even though Carolina was a great sunny day and everything like that.
It was, and Carolina could have actually given you guys a better game, but the play calling in that game was abysmal.
I feel the same way too.
That was terrible. Like I didn't even half the time I know I was watching. Like what? How are you going to allow Cam Newton come to the sideline and be like, "You're going to let me run this play. You're going to do it. I'm going to put it in the end zone," and everyone and their mother knew exactly what he was going to do. And I mean,
just from the first snap,
it was terrible. And his coach was like, "Oh, okay, Cam."
And you can make arguments for them too, as far as the refs.
How do you sound right there?
Okay, Cam. You go do it, buddy. You go on with your bad self, Cam.
Riverboat. Getting at it.
It was terrible. I don't know. Yeah, but you guys handled it. It was good. I mean, it's.
To be honest with you, I kind of expected more of a game.
I did too.
To have it turn out. I mean, obviously, being a Niner fan, I was enthusiastic for the win. I think we deserved it. I think everything that was supposed to manifest itself did essentially on the field. But I really expected it to be a lot closer, and I felt that the records even being 12-4 and 12-4, it didn't really condone the type of game that we saw on Sunday, though.
No.
And I was. You're obviously excited for the win with that certain amount of bias, but I was kind of disappointed, and I wanted a little bit more of a game, though, to be completely honest with you. And I know we can expect it this next week going in. For better or for worse.
This game on Sunday is going to be. I think both games are going to be a battle. I mean, it's and what's amazing is the dynamic of the fact that you have the two young bucks. I
love this.
You've got Kaepernick versus Russell Wilson. And then on the opposite side, you've got and Kaepernick and Wilson being very similar quarterbacks in their styles, both running quarterbacks, both powerful arms. Kaepernick obviously is taller. Wilson's like 4'2" or something like that. He runs.
That's all. Yeah.
Obviously he's taller, but then on the opposite side, you have two of arguably the biggest rival in NFL history as far as quarterbacks go, and two future Hall of Famers. I mean, fourth time they've met in the postseason. Yeah, exactly. Pocket guys. Neither one of them probably knows the last touchdown they ran. Yeah. So I mean, it's complete opposite ends of the spectrum.
I'm really excited to see Cap and Russell Wilson go at it. Either way, there's going to be a running quarterback. Repping the NFC in the Super Bowl. That doesn't happen a lot. And, those two teams could win. Those aren't fluky guys.
No, absolutely. I agree.
And either one of those guys could be the reason that their team won the game, too, which is pretty interesting. A lot of times when you throw out the term, running quarterback, you kind of got to give up, the arm a little bit, and I don't think Cap and Wilson kind of have that stigma tied to them. So it's a great evolution for the game of football, and albeit not my favorite sport, I'm glad to see that. So that's pretty rad.
And I'm glad you bring that up because I hate saying this, but I really think that Russell Wilson runs the read option better than Colin Kaepernick does. I think Kaepernick relies on his legs, and I think Russell Wilson is just a smarter quarterback and how he operates within the read option and just their offense entirely. I think it's just programmed in the scheme of what Pete Carroll wants to do so perfectly. It's just such a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
And it's just, you see Russell Wilson, and he isn't the most physical guy out there. He's not the largest guy. He's not the fastest. His arm isn't the biggest, but he makes the most out of what he has. And those intangibles, I mean, that's just being a smart player.
He read Drew Brees' book twice.
You know what I mean? And hey, there's something to be said about that.
Mm-hmm.
He was also drafted by the Rangers this year in the Rule 5 draft for the fuck of it.
That's very true.
So, why not, man? But one other thing we gotta talk about before we get into the AFC stuff. Did you hear about this ticket block that Seattle put on Niner fans?
Oh dear.
Based on their address, nobody from Northern California is actually allowed to buy a ticket.
They're blocking San Francisco fans.
Well, state of California, I heard too.
Oh, is it the whole
The whole
state?
state?
I was reading earlier. It's like if you are a Hawaii resident, Oregon, Washington, Idaho,
Yeah.
the same as Montana, essentially anywhere in the Pac Northwest.
It's incredible.
Nevada included. Tickets are entirely available. Any California resident, though, if you have a zip code, you're
Yeah.
denied.
If you got a zip code starting with 9, you're out.
How do you justify that? You've got two of the softest cities on the planet.
They say it's a safety
You already have
issue.
a 12 man. Do you need a 13 man too?
Yeah, dude.
How many guys do you need on the field?
I don't understand any of this.
They
man.
realize that it does take two teams to actually play a sport, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And this is incredible. Like I don't know, it doesn't make any sense.
They're having Ken Griffey Jr. and Randy Johnson come out and they're going to sing the national anthem too. So
Hell yeah. Dude, that 95 Mariners team was one of the funnest baseball teams I ever watched.
That was great.
They should have Ken Griffey Jr. and Barry Bonds come out and just fight in the middle of the fucking football field.
Fuck off.
Just start throwing blows.
Just swinging.
Exactly.
Free swinging. Might as well get Rice and Largent out there too. Start elbowing each other.
I love it.
Battle of the 80s. We can't get Art Monk. Jesus.
Murphy's gonna get real mad at me if we don't start talking about the Patriots.
Well, okay. All right, Murph.
Oh, do we have to?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, what is it really? The AFC games were real kind of boring.
Hey, can we just get this over with?
Yeah, exactly. Like the Patriots came in and just manhandled the Colts. I mean, Andrew Luck had a couple good passes for touchdowns, and the rest of it was just all just fucking Patriots all over the field.
Yeah.
LeGarrette Blunt.
Yeah, somehow the Patriots discovered a running game too, which was a little bizarre.
It hasn't been apparent in how long? Yeah. I was excited to see that. I actually kind of
was kind of
see that.
I was happy to see that too.
LeGarrette Blunt is gonna be the fantasy steal of the 2014 NFL
LeGarrette Blunt's
fantasy
good.
season,
He's good.
man. LeGarrette Blunt, go ahead and put it down.
Mark it.
You know, but too much Darth Hoodie, I think. You know,
Yeah.
they couldn't figure out they couldn't figure out old Belichick.
Belichick. Darth Hoodie.
Whoa.
Opa. Oh, jeez.
And,
he and his fucking sweats.
You know, as the Chargers lost too, and that bums me out. My good friend Scott, who put Humpty Dumpty back together again on Saturday morning after I broke my fourth wheelchair in 48 hours. No, it was only 2 in 24.
Yeah.
But no, he put me back together again, and he told me sure as shit that anytime the Chargers have a winning streak, it always comes crashing down eventually. And
Well, winning streaks are made to end. That's kind of what that is. And they have, sorry, Scott, Phillip Rivers slinging the rock. No one cries more. No one bitches more. I was actually very impressed in his post game conference that he actually gave the Colts some, gave the Denver Broncos some credit. He said that they were the better team today and that it was a well-oiled defense and. And it looked like it was paining him. He was in utter pain when he was actually giving a compliment to another team. But I will give Phillip Rivers a little bit of credit in the fact that he did say that Denver was the better team.
no.
But he threw in, if we got the ball one more time, we would have won. Fuck you.
Now I want to give the Chargers a little credit, but I gotta be honest with you. Like, they might have played good D that day, but that Denver defense has not been well or oiled all season.
I agree with you completely.
They are shaky as shit.
They're probably going to get exposed too during the
You know?
Patriots game. So it's
And before we close the book on the Chargers, like Cal Starr, Keenan Allen, Rookie of the Year maybe. I mean, let's give it to him. And Ryan Matthews from Fresno State,
Ryan Matthews was a beast.
came back,
Big bulldog right there.
had had another good game. You know?
I don't dislike the Chargers. I just think Phillip Rivers is a prick. I'm just going to go on record saying that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I can't argue that.
That was just a factual
It's
comment.
just an absolute fact.
With that being said, I don't know if there's a larger Ryan Matthews fan out there. I am silently on board the Ryan Matthews
Okay.
fucking fan.
He's good, man. He's a little bulldog.
See,
He's
like,
beautiful.
I wasn't beforehand because I had him on my fantasy team last year,
Yeah,
and he
like killed
dropped
it.
me
Yeah.
a fucking egg. Like, literally, like, did less than nothing. But, I mean, the guy had a hell of a season. What do you think, man?
You know, I think when he steps up and when he's healthy, he can be one of the most prolific running backs.
As good as any, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the kid's young. He's still finding his game. I think he's got a couple moves, but I like his size. I like his talent. I like his raw athleticism. And, you know, being the fact that he's a bulldog, that certainly doesn't help one bit whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And you know what, too? Like, ever since they got Norv Turner out of there, I think that Chargers offensive line has gotten a lot better, and I think those guys did
100%.
a great fucking job for him this year.
Got to find the new OC though.
Yeah, they do.
Wizen Hunt's gone. He's
I kind of like this move too.
I think it's good.
I think it's really good.
Yeah.
You know, just what Tennessee has established right now, I think is going to work well. It's not obviously going to manifest within the first 2 years, but I think you give him a few there though, everything will work itself out just fine.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, if he's going to be as solid as Fisher in St. Louis, I can't really go. You know.
Well, the biggest mistake that the Titans ever did was let Fisher get away from him.
You know, he's the face of the franchise.
Absolutely. It was bad. You know, it went bad quick. It went bad blood. He had to get out.
There's nothing really you can do past that. But I like the way that they're regrouping, the way that they're kind of heading, you know, into this new season. I think they're making at least the right moves right now, you know, and you know who they have as their core and everything like that. I like Delaney Walker there, you know, and I don't think that they're doing anything bad. Fitzpatrick, he's going to get his picks and everything, but I think you could certainly do worse. And as far as, you know, if you look at all the teams in the NFL, they're one of the more manageable teams, I think, that are out there, you know.
Yeah, the best job out there right now, obviously, is the Detroit Lions. But I think the Tennessee job was right behind it. You know, like it's they need a quarterback, you know, desperately.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, the pieces are already set in place in Detroit.
If we're gonna talk about coaching jobs and kind of go through the coaching carousel a little bit, how long do you think Marvin Lewis keeps his job in Cincinnati? The guy's been around for 5-6 years and never won a playoff game, and like that team's fucking good. Like AJ Green is good. They got the law firm and Giovanni Bernard, who's probably like, you know, if Keenan Allen doesn't win the Rookie of the Year, like you gotta look at Gio for it. And you go in and you get housed by a Chargers team that had to win 7 games in a row to get there, and you don't even compete. Like
They didn't even show up. It's terrible.
On your home field too. I think it's the most disappointing part about it.
Yeah, like, and they were 8-0 at home this last season. Like, how long does Marvin Lewis keep a job?
I'm surprised he's had a job this long. Like, I think we touched on it a couple episodes ago. But Marvin Lewis, I mean, that team is set up to go, like, to win.
Yeah.
You know?
The linebackers on that team are sick.
They're legitimate.
Yeah, dude.
They're legitimate. And
Perfect and Malaluga, like that might be the second or third best linebacking core in the league.
I
really.
don't think Andy Dalton's getting any better, and their coach is definitely not getting any better. So if you replace those two pieces, and Cincinnati starts winning and starts competing better than they've been competing.
There's a third or fourth round draft pick that's going to be hanging out there come July by the name of Taj Boyd. I think it'd be an awesome look for Cincinnati. Taj Boyd. Mark it down.
Clemson.
Folks, get your highlighters out, guys.
So you're saying that Cincinnati should draft Clemson's Taj Boyd? Is what?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Is
I think-
that what you're trying to?
I think the Raiders should do it first, but if it gets down to Cincinnati, like
I don't think Taj Boyd's going to be hanging around for Cincinnati to grab. I seriously doubt that.
I don't know. He's projected third or fourth round, so maybe somebody screws up and drafts Johnny Football first. You know?
Well, Johnny Football's probably going like number 4 or 5.
Yeah.
There you go, Cleveland. Get after it.
Make another bad decision. But anyway, we're at the Final Four. Who's gonna win Brady versus Manning fight number 127?
This is a tricky one because New England's won the last 4 matches.
They have, and Tom Brady's 3-1 against Peyton in the postseason. So it's.
And I don't buy the Denver defense.
Oh, well, there is no defense. They're terrible. But they showed up the last game. What was the score? The first game they played earlier this year was like 50 something to 40 something. It was neither team had a defense on the field. But that being said, I think I have to take Denver. Just because of the year Peyton's had, it doesn't seem like he's letting off the gas at all. He had not a great game against the Chargers, but a good enough game, a game that he had to play average to beat the Chargers, and he did. He's going to get himself up for this game. He's probably going to pick apart their secondary, but at the same time, Brady's going to pick apart Denver's secondary as well. But I'm going with Peyton. I'm going with Denver.
Mike, what do you got?
As much as I want to say that Denver's defense is suspect, because it entirely is, I feel they're going to get run over by Tom and what is now the New England running core, which I never really before.
It feels weird coming off the tongue, doesn't
it? No, seriously, it's kind of awkward for me. I want someone to put a thermometer in my mouth. Make sure I'm okay here by saying this. But I really have this gut instinct, this feeling though, just seeing Peyton. What he's done this year has just been miraculous, and it's just been a stunning feat. And
is there a record that he hasn't broken?
Exactly. And as suspect as Denver's defense is right now, I really don't think that New England is much better. And I just feel that going into it, Peyton's got some weird, awkward chip on his shoulder that he still needs to prove something. Mm-hmm. And I feel that Brady's got a more solid core around him, and I think he has more pieces around him. But at the end of the day, though, I can't bet against Peyton.
It's
so
hard.
Wrong. It's just so difficult for me. And I just seen what he's done in the regular season.
Not to mention, you say pieces around Tom Brady, but Peyton Manning hasn't had this many targets on a team his entire career. Yeah. I mean, he can throw it to 9 different guys. It's almost like you're watching Drew Brees. It's incredible. Sorry.
We'll shout.
Did your dick get hard there too?
A little bit of a chub. Anyway, sorry about that.
No.
My bad.
Why?
Awkward.
It's okay. There's room to scoot. It's all right. I like the Drew Brees comparison. Though.
Right.
So yeah, no,
he's got a ton of people to throw it to. He's got weapons.
It's totally true. And I see Denver being the strongest they've been in a long time. If there's anyone who's going to match up, especially with an NFC team right now, you have to have a high-powered offense to go against the defenses that are there in the NFC. And I don't think this is going to be a clear-cut win. I think it's going to be a stranglehold. But I do see Denver winning by even possibly more than a touchdown, though.
Wow.
Which could be could be the nail in my coffin right now. Holy shit. But I just see them as being such a force. I don't know if New England's going to be up to the task.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joe, what do you got?
And the Pats.
Of course you do.
You give Belichick a new toy that is the running game. It's LeGarrette Blount a week before a game with no real film to prepare, because it's not like they had a running game in week 15, 16, 17.
All Denver has to do is get him to cough it up one time, and Belichick will put that motherfucker on the bench the rest of the game.
See, I don't think so, and here's why. Because they don't have anybody else to give the ball to. Like running or throwing, they don't have anybody else to give the ball to. And with that defense, like, who's gonna force that turnover for them? The New England safeties did a great job against Andrew Luck and forcing some interceptions. And Peyton Manning's the guy that likes to think things through, and if you can confuse him and get him to throw a couple picks, and then he gets cold,
he hates the cold. You're right.
I just think that Belichick can tweak him out a little bit. It's not like Denver's gonna do anything they haven't done all year, and I think Belichick is gonna find a way to get it done.
I agree that the Patriots have the better coach. It's like what Mike said. It's hard to go against Peyton right now. This year, it's hard to go against Peyton Manning. I don't know. Jarrett, who you picking?
I like New England.
Okay, so we
Fuck
got
yeah.
we got 2 and 2.
Yeah.
I think we were split on NFC too, weren't we?
I think so. Yeah.
Actually, no. Let me rephrase. I like New England to cover. And right now, the spread. The spread. Denver's favored by 4.5. I think it could be another overtime 3-point game. Maybe Denver pulls it out, but I like New England to cover.
Okay.
I'll buy
I
that.
like that answer.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not.
I
too
think
far.
Murphy would support that one. I think Murphy would support the New England cover. I think that's all we got for this one, right, guys?
I think we're good on that.
Cool. Check us out next time, guys. SuperiorFandom.com. Thanks so much, Mike.
Follow us on Facebook, y'all.
Thanks a lot again, guys, for having me here.
Real quick, Mike, tell everybody where they can find you online as well.
If you want to, you can also check out gongongstudios.com. You can also find me at Gmail, too, if you want to email us up, gongongstudios@gmail.com. We do all types of mobile recordings and in-house type of mixing and mastering.